So in this question, we have a penny that has a mass of 2.5 grams and the moon that has a mass of 7.35 times 10 to the 22nd kilograms. And what we want to know is, what is the mass of 1 mole of pennies? And so if we know that 1 penny is going to be 2.5 grams, we want to figure out what is the mass going to be if we have a mole of these pennies. Now, a mole of anything is just going to be Avogadro's number. And so a mole is going to be 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd pennies. And so what we'll do is we're going to say that we have this 1 penny right here, this one little rectangle right here represents 1 penny, and this is going to be 2.5 grams. And what I'll do is I'm going to draw a lot of these little rectangles to represent a mole, because a mole is going to be a lot of these pennies right here. So here's my mole of pennies, and this is going to be 1 mole of pennies, and it's also equal to 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd power, and that's going to be how many pennies I have in just 1 mole. And so what we need to do is we need to figure out how much this would weigh, how many grams this would be. And so what we need to do is we're going to go from this 2.5 here to this new grams over here. And so if 1 penny is going to be 2.5 and we have 1 mole of these, what we're going to do is we're going to put down what we're given, and that's going to be that we have 2.5 grams is per 1 penny, and we're going to multiply that by how many pennies we have over here. We're going to have 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd power, and that's going to be the number of pennies, and that's going to be per 1 mole. This right here is just Avogadro's number. And so when we multiply 2.5 times this right here, Avogadro's number, and we divide it by 1, we're going to get 1.51 times 10 to the 24th power, and that's going to be equal to grams of pennies per 1 mole. And so 1 mole is going to be this number of grams of these pennies. So this would be the answer for the first part. Now, the second part says, how many moles of pennies have a mass equal to the mass of the moon? And if you look right here, the mass of the moon is in kilograms, and then what we have over here is going to be in grams for the mass of the pennies. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert this number here to grams. So I'm going to take this 7.35 times 10 to the 22nd power, and that's going to be kilograms, and then I'm going to put that over 1 like this, and then what I'll do is I'll put kilograms on the bottom here, and I'll put grams up here. That way kilograms and kilograms will cancel out, and then I'll be left over here in grams. So I know that 1 kilogram is going to be equal to 1,000 grams right here. And so when I go to multiply these, this one times this divided by 1, I'm going to get 7.35, and that's going to be times 10 to the 25th power, and that's going to be grams. And so this is going to be the mass in grams for the moon. And so what I have to do is I'm going to say, okay, I have 1.51 times 10 to the 24th power. That's going to be the mass of just 1 mole of these grams of pennies. And so I need to know how many of these it's going to take to fill up this right here. So I want to take this number here and multiply it by some number that I'm going to figure out here, and that has to be equal to this number right here. It has to be equal to the mass of the moon. Mass is going to be equal to here. So we're going to put down that this is going to be this 7.35 times 10 to the 25th power. And when we solve this by dividing each side by this number right here, this 1.51 times 10 to the 24th power, we'll divide each side by that number there, and what we get is x will be equal to 48.7. And so it's going to take 48.7 moles of these to equal the mass of this right here. So this will be the answer for the second part.